In a significant move reflecting the increasing complexities of global relations, the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies SAIS recently inaugurated the Institute for America, China and the Future of Global Affairs (ACF). Launched on February 3, 2025, this new institute aims to enhance discourse on U.S. China relations and the myriad of domestic and international issues intertwined with China's global role. The event, aptly titled Getting China Right, featured a series of panels and discussions that brought together leading experts and policymakers to dissect the intricacies of this vital relationship. SAIS Dean James Steinberg opened the proceedings, emphasizing the importance of rigorous analysis in navigating U.S. China dynamics. The day began with a conversation between Steinberg and U.S. Senator Andy Kim of New Jersey, who stressed the need for a balanced approach that addresses national security while fostering economic ties with China. The question is really, how does America navigate a multipolar world where we are no longer an undisputed hegemon? Kim remarked, highlighting the growing challenges the U.S. faces in asserting its influence globally. The event featured several panels that provided a comprehensive overview of the current state of U.S. China relations. One such panel focused on the implications of artificial intelligence included experts like Henry Farrell from Johns Hopkins and Jim Miter from RAND. They discussed emerging threats posed by technological advancements, illustrating how AI could reshape geopolitical landscapes and exacerbate tensions between the two powers. Another significant discussion revolved around China's economic challenges and their implications for U.S. interests. Moderated by Anna Swanson of the New York Times. This panel included insights from scholars like Yuan Ong and Matt Turpin, who explored how China's slowing growth and evolving trade policies could impact the global economy and U.S. economic strategies. A pivotal moment of the day was the launch of the Getting China Right at Home report, which examined the domestic challenges the U.S. faces as it engages with China. David Sanger of the New York Times moderated this panel, where speakers like Ho-Fung Hung and Margaret Pearson analyzed the findings. The report offers a sobering look at how internal U.S. policy discussions shape its engagement with China, reflecting a growing recognition that domestic resilience is crucial for effective foreign policy. The day concluded with a thought-provoking conversation between former National Security Advisor Stephen Hadley and Jessica Chen Weiss, the founding director of ACF. Hadley emphasized the importance of aligning national security objectives with soft power, suggesting that the U.S. must pursue its interests without alienating potential allies. As discussions at the launch event underscored, the stakes in U.S.-China relations have never been higher, especially as geopolitical tensions continue to rise. The formation of the ACF signifies a concerted effort by academic institutions to contribute to a more nuanced understanding of these complexities. Looking ahead, the Institute is poised to play a critical role in shaping policy discussions and fostering collaboration across various sectors, ensuring that the dialogue around U.S.-China relations remains robust and informed. In a parallel development, U.S. lawmakers are growing increasingly concerned about the implications of a pause in foreign aid, particularly in the context of China's growing influence in regions like Southeast Asia. Recent reports indicate that U.S. funding freezes could create a void that China might readily fill, particularly in nations such as Cambodia, which relies heavily on American aid for demining operations. As U.S. officials assess the future of their foreign assistance programs, there is a palpable fear that a reduction in U.S. engagement could lead to an expansion of China's footprint in these regions. As the global landscape continues to shift, the interplay between U.S. and Chinese interests will undoubtedly shape international relations for years to come. The establishment of the ACF and the ongoing discourse surrounding foreign aid highlight the urgent need for strategic thinking and proactive engagement in a world where the stakes have become higher than ever. In the ever-evolving landscape of global trade, recent developments signal a potential resurgence of tensions between the United States and China, reminiscent of the tumultuous trade war initiated during Donald Trump's first term. As Trump embarks on his second presidential term, his administration is poised to impose sweeping tariffs on a range of imports from China, reigniting fears of a damaging economic conflict. Analysts warned that the repercussions of such a trade war will likely reverberate through both economies, with U.S. consumers facing increased costs and China grappling with its own vulnerabilities. Trump's aggressive trade strategy includes a plan to impose a 10% tariff on nearly all Chinese imports, a move that has already incited a measured retaliatory response from Beijing, which has announced tariffs ranging from 10% to 15% on American goods, including crude oil and agricultural products. This tit-for-tat escalation reflects a broader strategy outlined in Trump's fair and reciprocal plan, which aims to counter value-added taxes (VAT) that countries like China impose on American exports. In an official statement, the White House has called for a review of global VAT systems, signaling a willingness to confront perceived inequities in international trade practices. However, experts caution that such protectionist measures could backfire. Nick Morrow, principal economist for Asia at the Economist Intelligence Unit, emphasized that tariffs function as a tax on U.S. consumers. When U.S. retailers face increased wholesale prices for imported goods, the rising costs are usually passed on to consumers, he noted. This chain reaction could lead to inflationary pressure on the domestic market, increasing the cost of living for everyday Americans. Simultaneously, Trump's tariffs may not be the panacea for U.S. manufacturing that many supporters envision, as highlighted by political economist Melanie Brusseler. The notion that tariffs can revive American manufacturing overlooks the complex realities of global supply chains and corporate behavior. While tariffs are intended to protect domestic industries, they can inadvertently raise production costs, making American goods less competitive abroad. Furthermore, the historical decline of U.S. manufacturing employment, now only 8% of the workforce compared to 32% in 1953, suggests that simply imposing tariffs will not restore the jobs lost over decades of economic transformation. The economic landscape in China presents its own set of challenges. With sluggish GDP growth and a faltering real estate sector, the Chinese economy is already under strain. As analysts observe, the current trade conflict could exacerbate these issues, leading to increased unemployment and reduced consumer spending. China's reliance on exports means that any downturn in international demand is likely to impact domestic investment and consumption, warned Wang Wuchen, a scholar at Taiwan's Tsinghua Institution for Economic Research. In an effort to mitigate these impacts, China may pivot its trading strategy towards developing countries. However, this move carries its own risks, as many of these nations are increasingly wary of over-reliance on Chinese imports. The Chinese government's recent initiatives to stimulate domestic consumption, including interest rate cuts and a substantial debt relief plan, are steps in the right direction, but may not be sufficient to offset the potential fallout from a trade war. As both nations brace for the economic consequences of this renewed conflict, the question remains: who will ultimately bear the brunt of the fallout? While Trump's administration may believe that a hardline approach will restore American economic dominance, the reality is likely to be far more complex. The intertwined nature of the U.S. and Chinese economies means that both countries stand to lose if trade relations deteriorate further. Looking ahead, the potential for further escalation in the trade war looms large. As Trump continues to navigate his ambitious trade policies, analysts will be watching closely to assess their impact on both the U.S. economy and the global market. The stakes are high, and the choices made in the coming months will shape the economic landscape for years to come. With both sides entrenched in their positions, the possibility of a cooperative resolution seems increasingly distant, leaving consumers and industries on both sides of the Pacific to grapple with the uncertainties of a new economic reality. In a world increasingly characterized by geopolitical tensions and military posturing, recent statements from former President Donald Trump have ignited discussions on military spending and international relations. Trump has called for the United States, China, and Russia to cut their military expenditures in half, a proposal that could reshape the landscape of global defense strategies. This call to action comes amidst rising concerns regarding military activities in the Indo-Pacific region, particularly surrounding Taiwan, where Chinese military exercises have raised alarms about potential aggressions. Speaking at a recent event, Trump emphasized the need for significant reductions in military budgets, arguing that excessive spending diverts resources from critical domestic priorities. "We must focus on our own people," he stated, suggesting that a substantial cut in military expenses could reallocate funds to infrastructure and education. His proposal reflects a broader sentiment among some policymakers who believe that de-escalating military tensions could foster a more peaceful international environment. However, the feasibility of Trump's proposal is complicated by the current military dynamics in the region. U.S. Navy Admiral Samuel Papero, speaking at the Honolulu Defense Forum, warned that China's heightened military activity around Taiwan could serve as a pretext for an actual invasion. Papero described the Chinese military maneuvers as rehearsals for the forced unification of Taiwan to the mainland, indicating that these exercises are not mere drills but serious preparations for a possible conflict. He noted, "We're very close to that point where on a daily basis the fig leaf of an exercise could very well hide operational warning." Admiral Papero also pointed to a concerning alliance forming between China, Russia, and North Korea, which he labeled an emerging axis of autocracy. This coalition has been marked by coordinated military operations, including joint bomber patrols and advancements in anti-satellite capabilities. The implications of this alliance could be profound, as it may shift the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific and challenge U.S. military readiness. Amid these developments, the U.S. military faces its own challenges. Admiral Papero highlighted critical gaps in American defense capabilities, such as dwindling weapon supplies and maintenance backlogs. "Our magazines run low. Our maintenance backlogs grow longer each month," he remarked, underlining the urgency for the Pentagon to bolster its presence in the region. The call for increased production of unmanned systems and a faster procurement process has gained momentum as military officials recognize the need for agility in addressing potential threats. In tandem with military strategies, intelligence capabilities are also under scrutiny. A report from the Atlantic Council, authored by retired Army Lieutenant General Scott Berrier, advocates for a comprehensive overhaul of the U.S. intelligence community to enhance its early warning systems. Berrier argues for a real-time integrated intelligence framework that spans all domains, space, cyber, air, sea, and land, to provide timely insights into potential threats. "The side that sees first decides first, and the one that acts first will have the advantage," he stated, emphasizing the critical nature of speed and integration in modern warfare. As the geopolitical landscape continues to evolve, the interplay between military spending, international relations, and defense preparedness will undoubtedly shape future discussions. Trump's call for reduced military budgets could resonate with a segment of the population weary of foreign entanglements. Yet the realities of global threats may necessitate a more nuanced approach. The future of U.S. military strategy will likely hinge on balancing domestic priorities with the imperative of maintaining robust defense capabilities in an increasingly volatile world. As the situation unfolds, the effectiveness of proposed reforms and the dynamics of international alliances will remain focal points in the ongoing discourse on global security.